is CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Naja Sherman, and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. QUICKCAST. Let's take a look at today's top stories. The jury selection process has begun ahead of the trial for former BSO school resource officer Scott Peterson. Peterson is facing multiple child negligence charges. This is all in response to the mass shooting at Stoneman Douglas High School. CBS News Miami's Nicole Lauren is in Fort Lauderdale with more on what we can expect to happen in court.
Well, Peterson is expected to be in court today, and they're expecting the jury questionnaire to also be finalized, as well as any other issues. And then jury selection will begin come Wednesday. Now, for those of you who haven't lived in South Florida or unaware of this case, Scott Peterson was the school resource officer that was present at the time of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas when the mass shooting took place. And now today he is currently facing 7 counts of child neglect with great bodily harm and other counts related to his alleged failure to confront the mass shooter who killed 17 and injured 17 others. The neglect charges specify that Peterson was a, quote, caregiver who, according to prosecutors, abdicated his responsibility by taking cover instead of taking action on that fateful day. Much of it even caught on a surveillance video. Peterson's defense attorney, though, wants jurors to hear the statute that excludes law enforcement officers from being called caregivers or labeled in that way. But prosecutors, on the contrary, argued his role as an SRO falls into this category. The judge said they will allow the jurors to decide whether or not Peterson falls into the category of a caregiver. I can tell you Peterson has been very outspoken over the past 5 years since this tragedy took place, saying that he was not hiding, but rather doing what he was trained to do. In Fort Lauderdale, Nicole Lauren, CBS News, Miami.
Always alerting, always tracking. This is Next Weather.
Taking a live look at downtown Miami, we've seen some scattered thunderstorms and heavy rain across South Florida, and the wet weather isn't going anywhere just yet. Let's get right to Next Weather meteorologist Cindy Pressler. So what are you tracking, Cindy?
A few storms mainly over Miami-Dade. Of this has been in the inland areas, and the flow, you can see all the outflow, sea breeze. This is all about the sea breeze fronts today and again tomorrow. So we watch those. That's where the storms develop on. This pack here, this cluster is making its way to the south. Again, most of this is west of Highway 27, so it's over very sparsely populated areas. But this is some heavy rain here. There was some lightning with it. A couple of showers tried to make it a little bit further to the east, but this is going to be the spot we watch for the next couple of hours until the sea breeze front weakens, and then it will allow these storms to migrate a little bit further to the east. We'll be watching that by early this evening. Temperature, wow, 88 degrees at this point in Miami. Now you add that high humidity to it, it feels like it's 93 degrees. Just a few minutes ago it was 96 degrees is what it felt out there, and you can feel that humidity the minute you walk out the door. So get used to it. That's the kind of humidity we're going to feel all week. So let's put this into motion here. There's the storms over the interior. We have a southeasterly wind today, so pushing that sea breeze front over the interior. Now about 5 o'clock, it spreads a little bit further east now. This will be around Homestead. The Miami metro area, not as likely to see a lot tonight, but you see these showers and storms trying to make their way to the east by 7 o'clock. Now they begin to weaken at 8, 9 o'clock. We're done by the time we get to 10. Very typical. And then tomorrow again, with all the heat and humidity, we're still going to look for those showers and storms to develop again, maybe a little further east this time, a weaker wind. So those showers and storms will develop right around Miami down to Homestead. This will be 5 o'clock. Now you got rain again downtown Miami. Really focusing on the east side this time around, and by Wednesday, winds will switch to the south and west, and that's going to pin that frontal system, or that sea breeze, the east coast sea breeze, right along the east coast, and that's going to give us a good chance for rain too. Really, our rain chances are high all the way through this week. Every day we're going to see rain, and with that building up, there's a good chance of potential for flooding this week. So there we have a front coming in as well. Area of low pressure sliding across the state. That keeps us on the south side, on the stormy, wet, and humid side. This weekend, another front, a weak one, tries to move in here. Kind of uncertain what's going to be happening with that, but I think we can say more rain is expected. Through Friday, as much as 1 to 3 inches. That'll be over the next few days, but if you get under one of those, there could be more than that. We have this disturbance out here in the Atlantic, not expected to become anything tropical. 10% chance, low chance, nothing here for South Florida. So temperatures will stay in the mid to upper 80s with a chance for showers and thunderstorms all the way through the week. Little lower chances this weekend, but hot and humid.
All right, thank you, Cindy. Definitely a week to keep those umbrellas handy. The search for the next Broward school superintendent is now down to 7 candidates. The school board met earlier today and picked the semifinalists. These are the 7 semifinalists for the job. You see them on the screen. They have to submit a videotape by Thursday answering 3 questions. The board hopes to decide on a new superintendent by next month. The NAACP is issuing a travel advisory for Florida. The organization is warning that policies signed by Governor Ron DeSantis are negatively impacting the African-American community. And this all comes just days before the governor is expected to announce a presidential bid. The governor recently signed legislation banning state funding for diversity, inclusion programs in Florida public schools. This led to the travel advisory for the state of Florida.
You may face some concerns of regressive policies, oppressive positions that have been enacted under the leadership of the governor of the state of Florida.
In a statement, the governor's press secretary called the advisory, quote, a stunt. Governor DeSantis is expected to announce his presidential run sometime this week. We reached out to his team for comment and have not heard back. Governor Ron DeSantis is asking that a federal judge be disqualified from the ongoing legal battle with Disney. He says the judge's prior statements have raised questions about his ability to be impartial. The governor's motion was filed a day after Disney announced that it was scrapping plans to build a new campus in Central Florida and relocate 2,000 employees from Southern California. DeSantis says Judge Walker referenced the ongoing dispute between his administration and Disney. He says it happened during hearings in 2 unrelated lawsuits. Walker was nominated to the bench in 2012 by President Barack Obama. He is now chief judge of the district. A familiar face could make his way into the 2024 presidential race. Miami Mayor Francis Suarez talked about the possibility of announcing his own run on CBS's Face the Nation.
The clock is ticking. It's a soul-searching process with my family. And every single day we talk about it, my wife and I, and we're getting much, much closer to making a final decision.
All right, it is heating up. The first Republican presidential debate is happening in August. If he were elected, Suarez would be the first ever Latino to take the nation's highest office. When we come back, it is Water Safety Month. Meet a man who's behind a South Florida swimming school, hear his story, and learn why his mission is dedicated to saving lives. Welcome back. Wow, what a game. The Miami Heat now just 1 win away from advancing to the NBA Finals. Miami dominated Boston on Sunday night to take a commanding lead in the series. CBS News Miami's Samantha Rivera was at the Kaseya Center with what comes next.
The Heat are now up 3-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals with a strong chance to sweep the Celtics on Tuesday. So here are a few keys I think they need to focus on to make that happen. Their shooting was incredible, almost 57% from the field and just over 54% from 3. Even on a night where Jimmy wasn't making the biggest splash with just 16 points, they still had guys like Gabe Vincent with 29 and Duncan Robinson with 22. Bottom line here, you guys, they've got to keep it up. And then I feel like I'm repeating myself here, but these are truly things going well for the Heat that need to continue right now. Remember how worried people were about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? Well, the two finished for a combined 26 points. Yeah, 26. And then as a team, they shot just under 40% from the field and just over 26% from 3. The Heat know how lethal they can be, and anything and everything they've done defensively has helped hold them down. Lastly, Kaseya Center was rocking. The Heat are a special kind of team that can take advantage of crowds both on the road and at home, even more so, of course, when they're at Kaseya Center. If they can continue to feed off of the positive energy they're receiving in Miami, they could very well ride out their momentum to sweep the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. That opportunity will come on Tuesday with another late start to Game 4 at 8:30 p.m. For now, at Kaseya Center, Samantha Rivera, CBS News, Miami.
All month long, we have been covering water safety in our community because May is National Water Safety Month. Well, this week, we are introducing you to a man who has been running a swim school in South Florida for decades. As CBS News Miami's Terry Hornstein found out, it all started when he was just 8 years old and witnessed a water emergency.
When I was very young, I was on vacation with my parents, and I pulled a little girl out of the pool.
Alvaro Nunez was just 8 years old when he first realized the importance of knowing how to swim.
And it stayed with me ever since.
At 16, he became a lifeguard, and today he owns the Little Swimmers Swim School in Kendall. The school offers individual lessons for children as young as 8 months old. His oldest student, a Korean War vet.
He did not know how to swim, and why did he want to learn how to swim? He had grandchildren. And now grandparents want to be in the water with their kids.
Alvaro stresses the importance of learning how to swim at any age.
We live in Miami. There's water all around us. There are canals, there are rivers, there are lakes, there are pools. Everybody has a pool.
Drowning is the leading cause of death in children 1 to 4. And for children 5 to 14, the second leading cause of unintentional injury death. Nearly 80% are male.
There's peer pressure involved, and there's parties that they go to, especially roughhousing and parties. We all know what can happen.
Learning how to swim, being able to save yourself in the case of an emergency, Alvaro says is truly a matter of life or death.
This is something that needs to be indoctrinated into every child. Every parent should do this. If it's not with us, it could be with anybody else.
In Kendall, Terry Hornstein, CBS News, Miami.
Wow, what a great program. So the Little Swimmers program is 2 weeks long, but after just 1 week, children learn how to get back to the wall and save themselves if they fall in. And that is your QUICKCAST. I'm Naja Sherman. Hope your new week is off to a terrific start. Stay with us right here for more news on CBS News Miami.